Hey everyone, it's LJ here. It's time for a dotty video. Hey everyone, it's LJ here. Welcome back to another Squdge craft video. So today is another dotting video. As you can see, this is something that I did on Twitch. You can see my overlays. You can see all of the fun pop-ups we have, the interactions when people chat, stuff like that. If you are ever interested in joining us live on Twitch, I'll put the links down in the description for you. You can join us there. It's kind of like going live on YouTube, but there's a lot more sort of viewer interaction over there. So this is another dot art piece. So this is this beautiful witch. She is a wooden piece that I have painted with black gesso to prime it. And we are not going to do a mandala style today. We're going to do what I like to call random dotting, which is where we create an image using the colours without it being, you know, perfection and specific. And you don't really need to do the patterns that you get for mandala art. If you do enjoy these videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think. One of the best things about doing this live on Twitch is I struggle with random. So we have a fun little element where whenever I'm doing random dots, I ask my viewers to roll dice for me, and I use those as our piece. So let's get started. Okay, so as you can see on the side there, I had my shuttle art paints. I will leave links for you. So using a chalk pencil, I'm going to go round and I'm going to just sort of like divide the sections on our witch, because I want each area to be a specific colour so it looks like a full outfit. I'm just kind of with a chalk pencil roughly sketching out where all the parts will be. We will rub that chalk off as much as possible and then wipe it off when we're completely done. Now the viewers on Twitch decided that as it's for me, we should have a rainbow broom, and I thought I'll do a normal broom handle, but we'll make the bristles of the broom rainbow, which is going to be a lot of fun. So using my ruler, I was just dividing it up into the sections, and then we're going to get started. The reason I use a chalk pencil is just because it is easier. I find it so much easier. You can rub off excess chalk before you start, and then at the end you just go over a tiny bit of water on a cloth and all your lines are gone. You don't have to worry about erasing anything. It's just really super simple. You can use a kneaded eraser if you want to, or you can just use, say, a microfiber cloth or something just to wipe it off. You don't want to do anything harsh or abrasive because you don't want to take off any of that black gesso that we've used to prime it. But you can see in a second I'm going to just rub over everything so it's nice and pale, and then we're good to go. Again, using gesso as a base works really well on a wood piece because wood is porous and it will absorb your paint if you don't. So started off with red, as this witch is going to be me. Essentially we decided on red hair, unsurprisingly. So using this red that I've got out, I'm going to start with my larger dotting tools, and then as I mentioned, my viewers roll a dice and I do as many dots as is rolled on the dice. So someone rolled a 3, I've done 3 red dots. Then I change the size of my tool and I do some more dots this size. When I'm doing random pieces like this, what I tend to do is go in 2mm increments. So I started off with a 10mm, then an 8mm, then a 6mm, then 4, then 2. And all we're doing is going around based on how many dots they say, slotting them in between each other. Once we've filled up the majority of it, then we're going to add in smaller dots to kind of fill in the gaps. But you can wait until it's dry if you feel that you might smudge things, or you can do it straight away. Entirely up to you. Now, as you just saw there, the little cat popped up and said hello to someone who joined the stream. If you do ever want to come onto Twitch and join us, it's a lot of fun. It's a lovely, lovely community, and it really is sort of keeping me sane at the moment, and we would love to have more crafty and wonderful people over there. So once the red is done, we are going to add a little bit of red to the broom. You can see here I'm going in and filling in those tiny, tiny spaces with, these are the nail dotting tools that you can get. Usually used for nail art. That's the ends are very, very tiny. Then we're going to add some onto the broom. Now I divided the broom into 6 colours just because it's easier. I do not have pink in my rainbows. I know some of you will be annoyed, but I do not have pink in my rainbow. So once the red is done, we're going to pour out the next colour. Now what we also decided was, because it's me, we're going to have green and we're going to have purple on the outfit. So I only got a little bit of the orange out. We're going to fill in the orange dots, and we're just going to go through like this. And every time, except on the broom, because I was having to measure those out specifically to fit, any other colour that we've got out, we just do random. So if someone rolls, I ask someone to roll a d6, for example. If they get a 4, I do 4 dots. If they get a 2, I do 2 dots. What I tend to do is with the bigger dots, so when we first start, I use smaller dice. And we have commands for polyhedral dice. So we have a 4, a 6, an 8, a 10, a 12, a 20 and a 100. So when I'm using the big tools, I kind of say roll me a d4 or a d6. And then by the time we're doing much smaller dots, I can say roll me a d20. And we'll do as many as we get. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice way for everyone watching to be involved as well, which is what I really like, because part of my love for Twitch is just the community aspect of it. Nothing wrong with YouTube at all. I love my community here on YouTube. I've done one live stream on YouTube and I found it really awkward and uncomfortable, and it seemed to be a lot about give me money, give me super chats, like all of this stuff that I'm just not there for. I want the community. So you can see currently there is a timer on. My community like to challenge me either by not saying a certain word, which I always fail, not saying quotes, having to work with my left hand. In a minute you'll see me having to work solely with my left hand. Oh, the concentration required. But it's a lot of fun and it makes things really fun and interesting, you know. You can see there's different alerts going off. It's so much fun over there. So again, I've done the green dots. I'm going in with the tiny tool and just filling in any black gaps. And then we're going to switch over to our next colour. So because it's me, obviously the dress is going to be purple. And as you saw in my palette, I have 3 different purples there. We have the standard purple, which is the same as the one on the broom, and then 2 different metallics, just to kind of jazz it up because the dress is a big area. Now, as you can see here, I'm having to use my left hand, and if you watch the concentration on my face, oh, I'm so uncoordinated with my left hand, but we got through it. This is what I mean. It's a lot of fun over there. We have a lot of laughs as well as creating stuff. This is just us shouting out another member of the community who is being really supportive. This was done as part of an event where actually we were involving a lot of crafters over on Twitch. We had a long 2-day event. It was amazing. So, going in with the different shades of purple. For every dice roll, I am alternating the purple that I use. So, for the first one, I did one of the metallics. The second set, I did one of the other metallic. And now you can see I'm using the standard purple that comes. It's not a metallic purple. Again, starting off larger and going down by 2mm each time. The tools I have are ones that I got custom made for me from Etsy. They are very expensive. You do not need them. I just use them because I do dotting a lot. I find it really relaxing and I wanted to treat myself. You do not need them. You can buy cheap dotting tools, and I mean cheap dotting tools, on Amazon. Links will be down below for you. But you can also use the end of crochet needles. They are already in size increments. You can use a pencil eraser, a pin, the end of a paintbrush. You can use so much that you've got indoors. You can use things like cotton earbuds, but be aware they will soak up the paint. So you'll probably need to use more paint by doing that, but there's so many things you can use. Right, once the dress is mostly covered, I'm going to move on to the band of the hat. Obviously got to have some purple in the hat as well. It's me. And then do some tiny dots around them just to fill in the gaps. And then pretty much where we're at, I went back in and did a few more of the little purple dots, and then we left it to dry overnight. As this was a 2-day event, I had 2 different time slots. This was the first one. We then let everything dry, and then when I came back for the second slot, we were able to fill in even more of those gaps. Now, if you are doing a mandala, it's easier to do it all together as you go. With things like this, where you can see there's still quite a few gaps, I want to add things, but I don't want to smudge what I've already done. And where I drop things, where I'm clumsy, sometimes it's safer to just leave it and come back when it's dry. While we had the green out, everyone said I had to have a green wart on my nose, so we did the wart. We did do the wart. So this is the next day. As you can see, everything has mattified and dried down. You can see how that green has gone nice and matte, so is the purple. Not the metallic ones, the one on the broom. So we're going to add the yellow and the blue onto the broom. We're going to do our broom handle in a variety of browns and golds. And then I also decided just to add a little bit more interest to the dress, and because she's not wearing jewellery, but if I ever wear jewellery it's in silver, we added some silver accent dots in throughout the dress. And then we did something called top dotting. Now, top dotting, you need to make sure your first layer of dots are completely dry. And then what you do is you take another colour, be it lighter, be it darker, be it totally different colour, and you go over the top. So once I've finished doing these little silver dots, I will show you exactly what I mean. And all it is say you did a 10mm dot. You would then get your 8mm or your 6mm tool, depending on how big of a ring you want around the outside, and you just do another dot directly on top of it. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos about the consistency of your paint. Here you go, you can see me doing a darker purple over the purple of the hat band. The consistency of your paint is really important. If your paint is too thick, you will get really sharp points rather than a dome, and that is harder to do a top dot on. Not impossible, but harder. But also, if your paints are too fluidy, too watered down, they're not going to keep their shape, and if you do a dot next to it, they're going to merge. So consistency is important. And you can see here on the shoe, I am just going over with a really bright metallic green on top of that original dark green, and you get a really lovely look. I also added in some tiny little dots. I do love the look of a top dot. It looks so snazzy. So I'm going to do that on the hat as well, add some metallics in. Because we had added metallic in the dress, I thought a nice way to sort of round out the whole piece is just to add little metallic top dots in certain places. Now, I already had the metallic green. I do not have a metallic red. However, I have an iridescent medium. Again, I will link it in the description for you. I'll link all of the tools in the description for you. And so basically I mixed my red paint that I'd used on the hair with some of this iridescent medium, and then we used that as a top dot for the hair. Going in with brown and some gold for the broom because we wanted it to match in with the silver and the metallics. The broom I think was the hardest bit to do because I wanted to make sure it still looked like a broom, but I didn't want to end up encroaching on any of the other colours. So for me, the broom was the most fiddly bit. But once it was set up, you know, you can just fill in all the gaps. Now here you can see the metallic is not quite as much of a contrast as it is on, say, the green, but that's because I mixed this myself. I also use a lot of Stay Wet palettes, which are incredible for acrylic paint, and as always, I will link them down below. I really like how she came out. I ummed and ahed and I left it till the end because I wasn't sure what to do for her face. And originally they'd said sort of mix a green in with the skin tone, and we really couldn't get a nice looking colour. So we just left it with a standard flesh tone, and I'm imagining that she's wearing green gloves the way that I wear gloves. Anyway, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of our lovely witch. Okay, so there is the finished witch. I really enjoyed her. As with all these videos, if you have enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It does mean the world to me. Keep crafting and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!